Welcome to Experiments in Happiness with Michelle Lemus, the podcast for high-achieving women who've checked all the boxes but still feel something's missing.
Motivation gets way too much credit. We talk about it like it's the missing ingredient, the thing that, once it magically appears, will make everything easier. I just need to feel motivated. Once I get my motivation back, I'll start. I don't know why I can't get myself going. I've said all of those more than once, usually while staring at something I cared about and somehow couldn't touch. And on the surface, those thoughts sound reasonable, responsible even, like you're being honest with yourself about where you're at. But here's the uncomfortable truth most of us eventually run into. Motivation doesn't usually come first, movement does. And I know that can feel annoying to hear, because if movement were easy, you'd already be doing it. So let's slow this down and actually talk about what's happening. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unpredictable. Motivation shows up when it wants to. It's influenced by sleep, hormones, stress, weather, confidence, novelty, validation, and about 12 other things you can't control. Some days it's there. Some days it vanishes the second something feels hard, unclear, boring, or imperfect. Momentum, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. Momentum is mechanical. It's built through small, repeatable actions that don't require emotional buy-in. Waiting to feel motivated before you start is like waiting for perfect weather before you leave the house. Sure, once in a while, the sun is shining, the temperature is perfect, and everything aligns. But most of the time, you'll just be standing there, scrolling, thinking about how you should go, wondering why it feels so hard to move. Here's where most ambitious women get stuck. When motivation disappears, we assume the solution is more effort, more discipline, more willpower, more pressure. We tell ourselves we need to get serious. So we psych ourselves up. We overthink the plan. We make the task bigger and heavier than it needs to be. We turn a simple action into a personality referendum. And then, when we don't follow through, we decide it must be a character issue. I'm lazy. I'm inconsistent. I just don't want it badly enough. But from a behavior change perspective, that makes absolutely no sense. Your brain is not refusing to cooperate because you're flawed. It's resisting because you're asking it to do something that feels expensive, vague, or threatening. The brain is designed to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary risk. Big, undefined, emotionally loaded actions trigger resistance, not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is doing its job. Your brain cooperates with clarity. It cooperates with safety. It cooperates with low friction steps. It resists pressure. It resists overwhelm. It resists all or nothing. So when you say, I just need motivation, what you're often really saying is, this feels too big for my system right now. And instead of listening to that information, we shame ourselves, which, by the way, does not increase motivation. It just adds another layer of resistance. So let's try a different question. Instead of asking, why can't I get motivated? Try asking, what's the smallest version of this I can start? Not the whole thing, not the polished version, not the version you'd proudly tell someone about, just the smallest possible beginning. 5 minutes, one sentence, one email draft, not sent, one document opened, one walk around the block, one tiny decision. This isn't about lowering standards, it's about meeting your nervous system where it is. Momentum doesn't come from intensity, it comes from continuity. And once you start moving, even slowly, something important shifts. Not because the task suddenly becomes exciting, but because your system gets new data. Instead of asking, is this dangerous? Your brain starts registering, oh, we're doing this and we're okay. That's how resistance changes. Not through force, through proof. This is the part people don't talk about enough. The discomfort doesn't disappear before you start. It softens because you start. Your nervous system learns through experience, not logic. And once movement begins, something sneaky happens. Each small action sends a signal. I'm someone who shows up. I can follow through. I can trust myself. That identity shift is what people often mistake for motivation. They say, I finally feel motivated. But what they're actually feeling is self-trust, evidence. Their brain now believes them. And confidence works the same way, not through pep talks, not through hype, not through waiting until you feel ready. Confidence is built by doing things at a scale your system can tolerate over and over. This is why trying harder so often backfires. Pressure makes tasks feel heavier. Heavier tasks trigger more resistance. More resistance leads to more self-criticism. It's a terrible loop. You don't need a pep talk. You don't need a dramatic breakthrough. You don't need to feel inspired. You need a push, not a shove, not pressure, not punishment, just a gentle nudge forward. You don't need to wait until you feel like doing the thing. You need to do the thing small enough that your system says yes. That's how momentum starts. That's how confidence builds. That's how real change happens. Not in theory, not in books, but in real life. And here's something I want to say very clearly. If you've been stuck, that doesn't mean you're lazy. It means your starting line is too far away. If you've been waiting for motivation, that doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've been taught the wrong order of operations. Motivation is nice when it shows up. Enjoy it when it does. But don't build your life around something that comes and goes. Momentum is reliable. Momentum is teachable. Momentum can be created on days when you feel tired, unsure, unexcited, or emotionally flat. And the most empowering part, you don't need to fix yourself to access it. You just need to start smaller than your pride wants to, smaller than your perfectionism prefers, smaller than your ambition thinks is impressive. That's not failure, that's intelligence. So if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Start moving in ways your system can handle. One tiny action, one small step, one honest beginning. That's how momentum is built. And momentum, not motivation, is what actually changes your life, one experiment at a time.
Thanks for listening to Experiments in Happiness. You can find more tools and resources at experimentsinhappiness.com.